Hello, SpeedGaming, and welcome to more of Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 6. It is now Week 3. That's AAD keys, almost all dungeons key sanity. Today we've got an invitational match between Mr. Ed of the Bratwurst Buddies and Andy of the Perfect Unadulterated Gaming Squad, or the Pugs. I'm Radical Sniper 99, joined by MyNDM and Velleity on tracking. Hello, MyNDM.
Good afternoon, Jesse. It is wonderful to see everybody out there in Speed Gaming land again as we bring you another match in the Invitational Link to the Past Randomizer League. As Jesse said, we are in Week 3 now. This is AAD Keys, that almost all dungeons key sanity. It's really a 7-7 key sanity seed, but we've plandoed the GT Big Key on pedestal, so you're gonna have to do all the pendant dungeons anyway. Good luck, have fun.
Yeah, Ganon probably wouldn't care about those pendant dungeons, but unfortunately you do have to kill Agatu, and the only way to kill Agatu is to get that GT Big off Ped. So all week, all Ped seeds. So I'm sorry, chat, your dream has been answered, but we already know it, so the mystery is gone.
I heard Mystery's been gone from this format for quite a while.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be starting momentarily. I see the runners had readied up, and here we go. We're getting Link's house starts. Oh, sorry, Ed actually started a tank for Blue Mail.
Ed just needs to be a little contrary, that's all. That's the way horses go, right? You have to feed them apples so that they'll trust you. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have a dog, and I have it on very good authority that this dog can fly just as soon as you put boots on its feet.
Yeah, I did see in the notes something about horses and dogs, so...
I figured we had to play off of it at least a little bit, right? So Ed is opening with a Houlihan start here. I have to wonder if this is going to be the homemade beer patented Sank Houlihan opener. Now we're going to rush Eastern Palace because, well, why not, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, hey, go get some bombs, scout the island. Although if you're Andy, just get a hammer and a couple of bombs and you're all set anyway.
Yeah, no, you get a hammer out of the uncle area, you find out that guards are in the bomb pack, and all of a sudden you're looking at a really easy tree pull for some large magic decanters, and you can continue right on into Hyrule Castle if you'd really like to.
And it looks like he would, and getting that third bomb, so already very nicely set up on Andy's side. Now, we did say, of course, we've got the Bratwurst Buddies and Pugs. Pugs, these two teams are currently are in the Misery Mire division. Pugs currently undefeated at 4-0, the only team left in the Mire division with an undefeated record. Meanwhile, the Bratwurst Buddies 3-1 start to their season, and good enough for third place right now. But one game less played than this current second place team, Potato Pouch.
Invitational League, tough to remain undefeated, even if only through 2 weeks. 4 games worth of games played, and not yet a blemish on the record. Ed pulling those flippers out of Sahasrah's closet there, along with, what was it, a couple of maps or a map and a compass. The other two things weren't all that interesting, but the flippers, those could do something.
Yeah, and it looks like Ed's going to continue down to South Shore here. What's this going to be, Dam or a mini Moldorm cave afterwards? Or, sorry, Gina or mini Moldorm.
You would think with the flippers that maybe you go pinch off the Agina check early. It is one of those Sphere 1 locations. The game can just go ahead and throw something there.
And it looks like Andy's not even going to go for Dark Cross. Oh, wait, he's setting up the bombs. No, he's not going to. Okay. But there's the pearl at the dam in the flooded item.
Yeah, Andy gave that maybe the brief moment of consideration, and then you think, you know, Dark Cross with the hammer and explosives, this may not be the wisest use of time. Let's go for an alternate strategy that may not become a complete time sink. Andy's also going to land on this Moon Pearl here, and Ed, of course, going to carry these flippers into some checks that Andy could do out of logic if he really wants to, but we'll have to wait and see, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, going after the hobo check isn't terribly difficult from Link's house. I don't even think it gets a lot faster, depending on if you come at it from like Ice Rod Cave or Link's house. So you're fine either way.
Andy going to continue this sweep along the Ice Rod Cave. Kind of getting set up to high five with Ed here a little bit. Probably Ed's going to be about on the way out, being able to flip her over here.
Yeah, there's a little benefit on Ed's side there, but nothing too major. That early hammer still is the big benefit here. But we are just a glove from Dark World.
Yep, Andy, without those flippers, going to go ahead and save and quit out of the Ice Rod Cave. Ed is going to get back into the water and likely just continuing on into the Zora area, even though really just the waterfall checks. Then you can walk up, you can see what's on Zora Ledge. It may or may not be something that's worth your time.
I can't believe it, but after 6.5 minutes, we're actually going to see some CAC stuff.
Oh, you'd like to think that. Andy's turning north. It'll be a solid 7 minutes at the very least. Freebie glove just sitting out there in the woods. That casual 7-minute Dark World access, Andy says, well, you know what, I'm gonna save and quit from here, let's do something else again. And Ed is going to snag a second key to pod there off of the Zora Ledge.
Interesting mix of finds here for both of our runners.
Is this Andy south routing into the village here? Kind of looks like it.
Yeah, I'm curious why, but We're good on bombs, mate. You know what? This could be a thought of going right into Village of Outcast right after CAC.
That was more or less my expectation when he decided to pop that save and quit out of Lost Woods. Maybe he just wants to go ahead and enter the portal at 3 at the end of the village trip.
Yeah, that's about what I'm at. And that looked like, was that a big key on the race game?
I did not catch it, but it's definitely something that Andy wanted.
And yeah, there's a big key, and it goes to where? That is our big key to Turtle Rock already. Nice.
Fire Rod and Turtle Rock, anyone?
Hey, I mean, didn't we just see one of those?
I feel like I've seen 3 or 4 of those already today. It's been Turtle Rock hiding Fire Rod Day, apparently, in the randomizer.
Library is dead. Now, there's been a joke with some of the asyncs recently. My and DM, I know you've run some of them. I've run some asyncs of this. Is late boots. So clearly, with the library being nothing, that's going to come true again today, right?
The late boots again. It feels like this mode is either you just walk into the village and you pick up boots at 5 minutes, or you don't find them and they're just tucked away in the basement of GT somewhere and you never see them.
And after 10.5 minutes, we are entering Blind's Hut.
Yeah, after spending 100 rupees to get 50 back, that's... there are worse scams.
Pretty even on the routes so far. Only difference really is the fact that Andy hit up Sa, or Mr. Ed's hit up Sa.
Yeah, it is those flippers, and so far they have not really paid out in anything all that interesting. As you'd surmised here, Andy is just going to go ahead and continue this play right into the Dark World, up into Skull Woods, and we'll start in the middle and see what, if anything, happens to pop out.
Apologies on the audio adjustments, folks. Been trying to figure out what's not taking.
Imagine Discord audio leveling actually working. It must be nice for some people, but everybody always says I'm quiet.
And I'll swear, I had you turned up probably about almost 200%, and people were still saying you were quiet and that I was really loud. And I know I'm a loud person, but that was not my intent, especially when I started turning myself down, and everybody said you were getting quieter.
Yeah. Sometimes I think Discord sliders are all backwards. And it's just some kind of obscure joke that the Discord devs are playing on everybody.
Or are we secretly the same? Like, are we just the opposite person? I'm you and you're me.
Ooh, rando doppelgangers. That's a good topic if we run out of key sanity to talk about here. Yeah, Andy did pull a mirror out of Skullwoods here, by the way. That's going to be nice for routing in just about everything.
Yep. Especially with that red mail, let's be honest. Things were going to get really bad.
Nobody wants to have to go for the 7-heart red mail death warp. That's just unfortunate. And yeah, now you don't have to worry about it. Just pick up your mirror and go, go, go.
Yeah, we saw some very non-traditional routes here. Realistically, something akin to normal puts you into Dark World probably a bit before even Andy gets in. But honestly, I like the fact that Ed did get those early flippers. Nice little bonus to work with.
It does make you wonder what's going to happen once the runners get down towards the swamp area, because assuming that Ed lands on this mirror, and he's a bit of a compulsive Skullwood skipper, in other modes maybe a little less so in Key Sanity, but we'll have to wait and see, because that could be an advantage on his side of the board. But if he avoids the mirror, then again, all bets are off.
I mean, I hate the idea of walking through those bushes without a sword or boots right now, so yeah, I like this play up to Skull. I will say also, Ed's got no bombs. That thief knocked out his last bombs.
I can say that he's played a little inverted in his time. Skullwoods is not a terrible place to go fetch a bomb or two. Or if you're Andy, you can just find some in the Vanilla Big Key location of Thievestown.
And we're really starting to build up those money reserves as well. Andy up to about 1,000 or just over 1,000 rupees now. I love it. You know, you're in the Dark Woods area, you get tagged by an enemy, and you lose half a heart. Like, we don't even have to worry about damage at this point. These guys can play the game really well, and red mail at this point. Like, how's that fair?
Andy needing to do basically all of the digs for one piece of heart, and Ed did not reset his entrance point for the front.
I actually like this, to be honest. I'm actually a fan of that decision, because then Ed can get 2 more bombs on his way out of Skull.
This is true.
Now, whether or not this is intentional on his part, Okay, so he's getting one more. I don't know if he just didn't think about it or what.
That really was my question. I didn't know if that was the thought process or if it was just going to be a happy accident when he punched the mirror and did not go back to an entrance that immediately let him out.
So yeah, we are going to see pretty much all the dungeons. We might still have to see Aga Tower. Did either runner scout the Lumberjack? I missed it if we did.
I don't think that either of them did that. Now, that could just be because I was paying attention to the other runner at the time, both times. It's entirely possible.
That was a bow and hype cave. Very nice. GT small, some more bombs, a small key to Turtle Rock, and our first shield.
Yeah, small key to Turtle Rock to go along with the big key to Turtle Rock that we have already.
Why would you scout Lumberjack in AAD? Just in case. It can be something. There's no reason it can't be a required item. Andy does talk to the bomb vendor. Swamp and Hera are our red crystals.
Relatively easy crystals to get in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit locks them, but not enough to think that you won't get there soon.
What, between our runners, we would need to find the hookshot and something that makes mountain access logical, and then small key to swamp, and we've got the hookshot at that point, so we can kind of ignore the Harabig requirement.
Ignoring requirements is a good thing. Yeah, what I'll say to the question of scouting Lumberjack in this mode is, you know, there's just so much more that can be there. Like, if this was just all dungeons solo, I could see skipping it. Like, there's just so little that can be on the Lumberjack. But in a Keys seed, it's kind of, I relate it similar to race game. Like, you're gonna have to, you just do race game blind in this mode. In my opinion, at least.
Mostly because the chances that something can just be there are so much higher when you start talking about all of the additional keys you need to complete the seed.
Exactly. Oh, very nice catfish find. That is a fire rod.
Alright, so apparently this seed is going a little off script. We're not going to do the fire rod and turtle rock thing this time.
But we are going to get the splash delete, so anybody who is worried about the flippers tripping Andy up, he's going to be able to get these checks. Yeah, I mean, we kind of luck out here in the fact that we had the bombs, we've got the arrows. This is, you know, this is tech I would very much expect Andy to just go after.
Was that the other bow at a very brief glimpse?
No, that was a key on the ledge.
Key? Oh, that's right, I'd got that key.
Okay, Andy is not going to pick that rupee up. That would put him into swim state. So in order to give himself a little bit extra walking, he kept himself so that he was able to pretty much walk off that ledge a little bit easier.
And when you still have 532 rupees after paying off Scamfish, you don't really need to pick that up anyway. It's not as though it was an item that he said, you know, I would like to have this, but maybe not enough to lose my Waterwalk state. This was an easy decision.
Oh, yeah. Andy is heading down towards that portal again, it looks like. Where are we thinking? We got no books, so this is what? Pod Eastern, and we're going in through here?
Yeah, certainly could be. We have 4 pod keys tracked for both of these runners already. Andy also has the bow. That is a lot of logical access to Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. I have to say, I love how people play with red mail in races. You know, it just becomes, I will take everything as tight as possible because I'm not worried about getting hit. And I feel like that's another time in the last couple of days that I've seen people mirroring here for Saha instead of inside the hedge maze. Did I miss a change in the meta location to mirror for Saha?
Oh, I've seen this location off and on for years. I feel like you saw this a lot back in the day, and Andy, certainly a very well-established runner. I feel like this is kind of the old school method, if you will.
By the way, if you missed it, Ed is going to check this first chest of Swamp Palace. Those flippers, if there's an advantage to be had here, we're going to see it. But no. Just a piece of heart. And this is the unfortunate piece for Ed. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the route he's been taking, but the choices have worked out better for Andy so far. Andy did get to do the back of escape, and has had that mirror just a little bit sooner. Like, the pieces are just coming together in a better way for Andy to check more. Like, I don't think Ed got to do Zora. He didn't have the money for it, whereas Andy's knocked out all those flipper checks in the north area, including Catfish. So just a bit of an advantage, but damn, there's got to be something here in pod, right?
One would expect. The game doesn't usually throw this many pod keys at you this early unless it wants you here.
Yeah, 4 pod smalls opens up a bunch of checks, and you know our runners are going to try to get as much as they can out of this. So at least a couple of out-of-logic checks are coming. So in terms of pod key spending in this situation, realistically, you're going to open the front door. You're going to open the door to the back. You're going to save 1 key for Helma. And then the question is, are you doing vanilla big key chest or harmless Hellway? Some people might argue that you should do this right side bow locked play multiple times because 4 keys is enough to get all the chests and still have a key for Helma, but I hate it. It's slow.
Just
so I
open
don't
the front
recommend.
door, please.
Yeah, just open the front door. There's our Lumberjack Scout, and that is a Cane of Burna.
Not really the kind of thing that you're going to rush Aga for, but I guess Ed, with 1 CT small in the pocket already and about to climb the mountain, thought, this is a good time to find out whether or not something's there that I want.
Yeah, and realistically, it could just be that Andy finds a flute or a lamp here in pod. But I think Andy's also intending to dip Eastern. Like, between those two, one of them's going to have something.
And it may be something as simple as the lamp or the flute to get you up the mountain logically, which is the place that Ed's heading now. So this may be Ed trying to get ahead of the game
here. There's our lamp. Fire rod locked lamp today. So that is logical mountain access. And Andy is going for the harmless Hellway play. You know, I saw chat mentioning, the Death Warp, and there's King of Samaria in the harmless Hellway. Very nice find. That is a 6-key locked Samaria, but you're not going to turn down that find. Small key inside of Spec Rock.
Samaria at this point is one of those nice to haves. It becomes a little more interesting, I feel, once we find the other glove, because that is going to give Andy a decent entry to Turtle Rock, assuming that the Medallion, of course, is bombos.
And we find a sword anytime soon.
Oh, there are 4 of those. One of those is going to show up sooner or later, right?
Oh, sure. Now, my DM, do you expect us to see a Death Warp here and maybe a save scum of that last key? No, I guess not. Andy is saying, I am not checking the vanilla big key chest. Never mind. I thought with that lamp, like taking a Death Warp with the Kadongos wouldn't be too bad, but I guess Andy is planned on doing Eastern here. Although he could Death Warp out of vanilla big key chest instead. And then do a save scum? I don't know. Are we going to get a save scum of vanilla big key chest and pod?
It seems like maybe no, but again, he does still have options while he's in the area.
Yeah. Ed having a bit of a troubling time here on the mountain, getting really bullied by the cabbages. Did make it. Just needs to make it into Hera now.
One thing that red mail cannot do is protect you from large rocks.
Yeah, trap damage is a constant, and boulders are part of that pack, or that damage table.
Bit of a timely refill there for Ed.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The play into Hera not really yielding anything aside from making the infernal beeping stop, which is always nice.
The dead rocks are just as mean as everything else today to him. Jeez.
I'm pretty sure it's called Death Mountain, Jesse. They probably named it that for a reason.
And we still don't have an answer here, by the way. Andy getting that lamp, putting the mountain into logical access hasn't done anything yet, and Ed hasn't found anything on the mountain, and Andy hasn't found anything pod or Eastern besides the lamp.
There's that Samaria, and it makes life a little nicer now, but it's not really helpful until later. Once the mitts come out, again, that's your telltale sign that maybe that Samaria's got some play in it.
I mean, I'm looking at the fact that we've got a nice Palace Big Key already. Like, that's going to be great. And there's an Ice Rod. Okay. We know where second Medallion is.
Logically locked behind the lamp, which was behind the fire rod, which was on Catfish. Okay, sure, game. That's the way this can play out.
Okay, big key to Eastern Palace and a sword. Oh man, Ed finding some nice stuff there. That Eastern big key stopping him from having to worry about the double dip of Eastern. Nice. And Andy is going to go for the save scum here. Did perform a death warp out of Eastern Palace. So finish that out. He is going to get to see this second sword as well for Mr. Ed, as well as a bottle and the Titan's mitts.
Okay, so just do all of those things to get your lamp, and then come to Paradox Cave, where all of the goods are.
And a small key to pod inside of pod. Game. Why do you do this to us?
How very normal that is.
But, you know, you were talking about this TR play. Andy's going to get mitts. He's going to get a couple of swords. He'll get a Quake medallion. If this is Quake or Bombos, we have TR access, and we're a small key short of beating the dungeon.
And we just saw one of those small keys to a dungeon in the dungeon. Pod, very well known for that. Turtle Rock and Key Sanity also likes to do that from time to time.
It does. And realistically, that's what, 10 checks for a small key? 11 if you count Mimic, and there's our third sword on the mountain.
Yeah, just put one more of those in Turtle Rock and we can have the Mountainous Four Swords adventure.
It's kind of funny when you look at this, like, of our two runners, you go, okay, each of them got a nice item here. Ed getting the swords, of course, and being able to single dip Eastern is great. But I wonder if Andy actually made out better getting both rods and Samaria before coming up here, even with having to double dip Eastern now.
That's a question that can really only be answered pending whatever we find in Turtle Rock.
Okay, we got Quake, and here comes... I gotta believe Ed's gonna scout this.
He already went in and scouted it, but it was partially obscured by his frame counter in the bottom right-hand corner, so I have no idea what it was.
Oh, darn. According to Validity, our tracker, Ed marked it as Ether.
Interesting. The one medallion we do not have.
So we'll try to get some confirmation when Andy's up there. But yeah, that's what we're seeing so far. Nice use of that bottle to get Spike Cave and another Skull Small. Is that... That's only 2 of our Skull Smalls? Okay.
Getting closer to Logical Moth, but not quite there yet.
Is this Ice Palace from Ed?
Given that he's got that Bombos medallion out and he's heading in this direction, I can't imagine that he's swimming back for Sora. That seems like a check that's dead to him until he goes to Catfish, if it even happens then.
I still think this is a call. Like, not that I think Ed's gonna have trouble getting through this dungeon with his current equipment, but this is a call to make when you're like this early and, you know, there's so much you could still do besides ice. I love early ice, but wow.
You've got a big key, you've got a small key, you just went up the mountain and got your mitts and 3 swords. The boss is not going to be the problem. The problem is, and we know that this is actually the case, if the red cane is just out there somewhere that you could get at right now, you could save yourself a good, what, 30, 45 seconds?
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, Ed's going to find Pod Big here, and it's going to become a combo Eastern Pod, and that's even better for him.
That's an ideal situation for Ed, to be sure.
Yeah, and I think that's what's keeping him away from Eastern, even with that big key.
May also be trying to greed his way into one more pod small to try and make sure that he can at least clear everything else out, even if the big key doesn't turn up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the keys do work out nicely here. Having a small and the big means that none of these sections are difficult. Like at the big spike room, he can go right and hit the icebreaker side, so he doesn't have to do like full shenanigans. We've seen some bad Ice Palace routing requirements. and he will not have to do that today. But really nice Ice Palace bomb jump. To all runners out there, even with Icebreaker, it is important you know how to do your bomb jump.
And that really was just about as clean as it gets. It's not the true quick NMG strat, but for Rando, you'll see most people go at it just like that, and you hope to hit it first try just like that. Certainly managing to land that first try and getting it set up as quickly as you did, minimizing the time lost from not having red gain here.
Gotta admit, though, I forget to pull that tongue sometimes anymore.
And there was our confirmation, Andy entering the Dark Mountain at Turtle Rock. That is Ether for Turtle Rock.
So far, have we gotten anything of real value here?
Not that I've noticed.
And here comes Andy, gonna follow right in. And I understand his play a lot. Like, for him, this is even easier.
Having already touched both of the bow dungeons, when really his alternative would be, okay, let me take this Eastern Palace big key back to Eastern for 2 checks. Yeah, no, I'm going to Ice Palace for 8. Thank you very much.
The real dangerous side here for Ed is that Fire Rod, though. That Quakefish Fire Rod is not a great position. The other stuff that Andy has, like the Canis Samarian Harmless isn't bad. The keys have been pretty kind for Pod. I don't expect Ed to skip that. But when do you reach Catfish is the big question. He's done the Zora area as well as hitting Graveyard Ledge.
Alright, there's Pod 5 in the Ice Palace big chest, so maybe that's what Ed was waiting on to get over into the Pod Eastern area.
Now, we can say that this fight with Cold Stare is in logic with the keys that we have as well as Samaria, so Cold Stare could have our next piece of progression. Very clean Cold Stare there. Good job bullying the Puffs up into that corner. And that's the hook shot. Okay.
Interesting. Makes me wonder if this is one of those rando classics, go up the mountain to come down the mountain to get the things that you need to go back up the mountain to find the things. So, what I'm saying is, Ether and Hookshot Cave, anyone?
Right. And yeah, there is the 6th pod small for Andy, so Samaria is in logic, which means that Hookshot is also in logic. We are completely set in that regard.
Andy getting a little hung up on the geometry there in the Ice J room. A very Kool-Aid pink Ice J room today.
Yeah. This is an interesting color scheme for Ice Palace. I mean, isn't all of Ice Palace just letters?
Pretty much.
We have seen the first chest of Swamp Palace, by the way. Ed did check it. It was like a piece of heart, I think.
Yeah, piece of heart.
So, yeah, nothing there. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to see Andy head right into Eastern from here. He's already done those checks. He might delay a little bit, hoping to get Pod Big before the return trip. But here's the thing. You got what? You could do Hera and get Hookshot Cave. You could go to VOO, beat Skull, and do the Smith Chain. We still haven't seen a Gina. Are any of these like screaming out to you if you're Andy?
All of this seems fairly equally bad. I guess he likes the bow dungeon best. Maybe he's not really heading in exactly that direction though, and yeah, I don't know. Getting that hook shot, I feel like maybe you want to try and play off of that and see if you find something there, but again, you've got the fire rod, like you were saying, back of Skull Woods, and you've got some other checks over there in the area that you can make. That seems fine. I'm trying to talk myself into it, and I'm not sure that I'm succeeding.
I'm not sure either. That's my hard part. I'm like, there's a play to be made here. I just don't know where, and I think Andy is deciding Vu. Okay, but here comes those last two checks for Ed. We got that Eastern Palace big chest as well as Armos that we have not seen on Andy's side, so these could be the next step. $20 though is definitely not the answer. But the real advantage for Ed here comes if there is something like a Pod Big Key on Armos.
No, the advantage for Ed is now officially over. And I say that in full knowledge of something that he told me in one of my other team chats before this match began, that the Eastern Palace Vanilla Big Key location was dead to him, and sure enough, here he is skipping it.
Yeah, unfortunate. That Ice Rod will elude Ed for a long time now. Could have been almost any other item, but an Ice Rod is really not the kind of thing you want to see skipped.
Because there's really nothing that can possibly draw you back there, and yeah, a map on Armos Knights that is literally no help at all to Ed.
Yep. So this is really what you have to hope for is that like Pod Big brings Ed back to here. And that he recognizes, hey, I've still got to check in Eastern and I need to make it. But even then, that's a huge time commitment to get all the way to the Eastern Palace Big Key chest.
Yeah, it's one thing in a non-key seed where you're gambling 50-50 item there versus on boss, and there's been some discussion, and I forget what the exact number is of the amount of time it is to just go back in and get it. But when it's a key sanity mode like this, and you know that there's something there, and you've made your choice to skip it anyway, that I don't know how you make that anything but a last location.
Yeah. We do get a very nice clean moth kill over on Andy's side for the green pendant. I gotta say, without boots, you don't get much better of a moth fight.
Yeah, that 2-spike moth with a bootsless setup for the kill, that's pretty fiery.
Andy gonna walk back towards Village of Outcasts, it appears. I think it would have been quicker to just walk through the Lost Woods and do it than all these screen transitions in Skull, but, you know, minor difference. I mean, unless this is Andy hitting up Graveyard Ledge, I think I still would. Yeah, if this is just for Smith Chain, I think really should have mirrored, but minor routing.
And it's a situation where, while he doesn't know it, he does have some time to give here all of a sudden.
Yeah. We're going to get Sick Kid, and then what are we hoping for? Swamp Small, Ether, or Flute? Because those are, I think, really the big options we've got for our next progression, and I feel like Meyer and TR are screaming with that Cane now in Logic. And of course, there's that lamp for Ed. And I did not know that. We don't get a light cone yet.
No, you need to screen transition first.
There's our second shield there in the hammer pegs. We are not going to get that one. Ed obviously is showing his amazingly happy moment of finding Gate of Samaria there.
I did all of Ice Palace, and I could have just come here first.
I think the part that, chat mentioned was Andy's going to be able to do a green pendant turn-in when he goes back for Eastern. That is a nice bonus on his side. Ed walking out here is... Oh, I was really hoping maybe this could have been, but nope.
No, even with that lamp to put it in Logic, that is just one check that he does not want to do. Let's see, Purple Chest has just another piece of heart. Okay, so where is the answer, Jesse? We seem to be missing an answer here somewhere.
I was going to say maybe it's green pendant, but unfortunately that green pendant not in Logic without the last Skull Small, to our knowledge. I like the fact that we're finally getting a Gina, but Oh, we're going to get Aga as well for at least one. Both checks actually for Aga on Ed's side. So what? Aga versus Hookshot Cave? But East Desert. Oh, there's the Meyer Big. No value yet, but really going to be nice to have it before we have access to Meyer.
Yeah, one of those things that's convenient to have first, certainly.
And 10 arrows in that second chest.
Not particularly the goods that Ed was looking for. It does seem that he's going to go ahead and continue on over to Catfish, though.
Yeah, and that's good news for him to find the Fire Rod, but given the other issues, I don't want to write Ed out. He is a good runner, but this is not something that is manageably recoverable in a sense. I don't know what sends you there ever. And I'm trying to be as creative as I can as a runner for what takes me back to that skip.
The only thing I can think of is you get pod big late enough that your other options are already off the table.
Like Pod Big was on Laser Bridge. There's our Hera Big Key in Hookshot Cave. There's our book. So there's Ether Tablet and Bombos Tablet in Desert Axis. There's the Meyer Medallion, or sorry, the TR Medallion in Ether. So great. And this is when Andy's going to pick up his Quake Medallion as well.
Just get all the medallions, and then you don't care what it takes to get into Misery Mire. You know you're going to be able to do it.
Okay, Mind DM, you dip in TR?
I don't think there's a whole lot of choice here. You almost have to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, do you have anything better? Like, maybe you do Hera first because it's in logic with that big key. Oh, wait, we already beat... No, we can go beat it. Do Hera and the Ether Tablet first, hope for a third TR small here, and then come back. Probably our best bet. Yeah.
I don't think there's a circumstance where Andy leaves the mountain here before making TR checks, unless the flute comes out. That could throw a wrench into that particular plan.
Flute, maybe a Swamp Small. And Andy going with the Bread Pot Hera Pot version. There's our powder. We are finding all the mini little fetch quests here. A small key to Meyer in the compass chest here.
One of those is certainly a convenience item.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any Meyer Smalls, so I'd be happy getting one. That's right, chat. We're valuing a Meyer Small over powder right now. Or at least I am. I don't know. My idea might have been referring to powder.
I don't know. That's one of the better safeties in the game.
Yeah. Another small key on Moldorm, and this time it's the Hyrule Castle small key. Oh, no.
We seem to have a majority of the uninteresting small keys off the table at this point, but there are still enough of them left over, I feel, that any particular small key may not be one of the couple that we're looking for.
Did Andy skip Ether Tablet?
I think Andy skipped Ether Tablet.
Okay. Hopefully for him it's nothing. Like, this could be a skip that kind of bites him a little bit. I don't know what brings you back to Ether Tablet for a bit, but I feel like it's something you might just recognize you skipped.
I think on Andy's side, he could still pair that up with Spike Cave, potentially.
Yeah, if it's on his mind.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're tied back up 3 dungeons apiece. Andy short that Eastern, while Mr. Ed short the Hera. But Andy into TR does get his silver arrows. Nice little find there. And yeah, this could be a nice moment for Ed. I'm really trying to find outs for the guy. But TR being a crystal means that he cannot dive GT looking for an ice rod.
In the world of advantages, it's not a very big one, but it's not nothing.
all the fetch quests up here on this mountain. There's our shovel. Just missing a mushroom now.
It feels like a good half of these fetch quests are going to turn into TR smalls, doesn't it?
Yeah. But honestly, like, if this is the best play from Andy's perspective. Like, what? You dip desert for 3 items, a 4th being a check. You go back for Eastern only and the green pendant turn in. Like, realistically, this is double-digit items for him, and there just isn't a better choice.
No, and once you make this play into Turtle Rock, it's very difficult to leave until the game forces you to. Andy going to happily steal that pokey key so that he can continue in this dungeon a while longer.
Interesting play here. Ed is not going to walk the chest. Thinking that purple chest could have been the answer for something. Like, if that was Swamp Small, he's just going to say, you know what, it's probably nothing. It's just going to be this into a Gina. I don't have to worry about Bombos or Swamp.
With the Swamp Dip already out of the way on his side, unless it turned into the Swamp Small, it's a fairly low percentage probability that he would be looking at the position of, well, you know, I kind of wish I had brought my Dark World access with me.
Yeah. And that was the last in-logic check, by the way, in Turtle Rock right now, based on our current key situation. So whatever the answer is, it's looking more and more like it's one of our fetch quest items.
Book, shovel, powder, pick one or more.
Shovel into powder isn't terrible. Bombos tablet and ether tablet are a little bit isolated. Ether tablet is, I don't know what, like, does Andy go there after Laser Bridge if he doesn't find anything here, or if he's, you know, even if he does get the small key, does he remember? Although there's the flute.
Interesting. So where's Turtle Rock Small Key 3? Because it's not on Laser Bridge.
Realistically, if Ed does go all the way into TR here as well, 2 or 3 keys, you know, at this point is there's a like, this helps him in the fact that Andy did not have that third small. regardless of if Ether Tablet is a TR small key, this is to his benefit.
And if it is the third small, I guess he could have that wild idea of, well, you know, let me save scum this key and check the lava chest really quick, see if there's something outstanding in there.
And Ether Tablet is nothing. Powder leads to the Desert Big Key. My and DM Desert Mire look just so lovely right now, don't they?
Looks like a tasty combo to me.
So at this point, folks, we are missing a Pod Big Key, a Swamp Small Key, a Thieves Town Big Key, and a TR Small for Go Mode. Our runners might say they want some boots as well, but yeah. And that is Ether as well for Meyer. So those two medallions we got first had no bearing on this race.
Yeah, even the bombos that was what both of our runners used in Ice Palace could have been neglected in favor of the fire rod that's just hanging out on Catfish.
Yeah, I will, to the point of a potential TR key here in Desert, it is possible. The book did open up Desert, so there are small keys that could be here in this dungeon. Meyer cannot. But Desert could have TR Small 3. Both of our runners have done a Gina for the Meyer Big, so no advantage there right now. Really, Ed is just playing from behind. The only checks, like he's got the Eastern boss right now and Eastern Big Chest, but we did not get anything off of those. So like Andy being able to try to pair Pod with Eastern isn't going to burn him at all. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Spike Cave, which was also nothing. And Ed heading into Turtle Rock, as Andy is going to now clear out the front of Desert Palace. Well, boots not required for the Desert Torch, so once again, another check, not going to lead to anything for boots. Boots really might not be necessary. They could just be in GT today. Never to be seen or heard from again.
Looking at our dungeon prize knowledge, I'm wondering what we still have as potentials for GT, because it's looking more and more likely that that's where the boots are going to be hidden away.
There's another Meyer Small. So no real benefit of that one. The first one does help with routing this dungeon, but at this point you've got two. Or as soon as you get that first one, your Meyer route gets easier. This really just becomes a logic question for Meyer, and maybe makes you say, I'll just go do left side Meyer no matter what now. Since like that third Meyer Small should just appear on my route. But there on the right side, another, yeah, there's your Meyer Smalls.
Yeah, there. Now it's all nice and logical. You can go do it without the Keeper of Logic coming and chasing you down and telling you you have to put your items back until you get the keys.
And yeah, Allison raising a good question. Where is that TR small to put this flute in logic? Bombo's tablet?
Bombo's tablet?
Shovel?
Did Andy dig? I'm not sure that
I don't think he did.
I don't think he dug. So I think we still have a couple of outs for TRSK3.
Still love that evil Homer sprite.
It's so good, isn't it?
It is. And the song just keeps popping into my head. And yeah, to the question, I do see some discussion in chat about this. And for our, there's our Swamp Small, okay. To some of the people who aren't as familiar with logic question, the 100% inventory versus 100% locations. 100% locations pretty much means that a key cannot lock itself. 100% inventory does mean that Lava Chest could have been our third TR Small, but we do not know that currently. Big thing to remember about key sanity modes is just kind of understand that key sanity logic expects you to use keys in the worst way possible, but still be able to always finish the seed.
It's essentially constructed in such a way that you can't accidentally lock yourself out from completing the seed.
Yeah. Nothing in the vanilla big key chest of Meyer. GT Small. We're not gonna be unhappy to have at least one of those or two of those, but we don't need more.
At this point, they're just things that are diluting the pool of the key that Andy actually wants to find.
There's the Harris Small. Where are our TR keys? Ed finished with his TR dip. And he's got one more chest here on the bridge before going in towards that Vidi fight. And really the prize here in Meyer, the Swamp Small key. Not gonna, the Harris Small could matter, but we're not gonna really rush it. That Swamp Small is the big one.
And using that silver arrow there to preserve his altitude variable for the spooky action glitch here.
Unfortunately, looks like it did not preserve. So having to go through the old-fashioned way. And yeah, Telethar pointing out Andy beat Desert. The crystal catch of Landmolus does disengage Spooky if you do not flute back to 6.
Yep, good catch.
Yep. That's why I love having you here, chat. Sometimes we miss those things or forget them.
And sometimes as a runner, you're just in the guts of the seed and you don't really stop and think about it.
Nope. And honestly, Desert first is a good play. You think maybe I can get the Go Mode kit I need, and instead, really what Desert told you was do left side Mire.
Mire, another crystal on the board for Andy here.
I was about to say, we didn't see this checkerboard cave check from Andy. Just going to be a castle tower small. And really, you know, that's our second CT small, but it's just the Can of Burna, so nothing important there.
We happen to know that the worth is not there, but from a runner's perspective, you could say, well, that means I can logically go acquire Burna, and thus Spike Cave is technically in logic, although I would still be sequence breaking it.
And I still wouldn't be going without my boots. Okay, so Andy's going to go beat Eastern here first. Interesting choice. He's also going to be able to turn in the green pendant afterwards. Vanilla boots, anybody? We did see Spike Cave on Ed's side. There was nothing there. We've seen both runners do a Gina. It was their Mire big keys, so this is what allowed them to finish off Mire. Really, at this point, the missing TR small key, we're thinking that it's probably Bombo's tablet or in TR Lava Chest. Or Shovel. I think that's what's left, my Indium.
I think those are our remaining locations for the key. Unless we've forgotten one, which is possible.
We did also see Graveyard Ledge on Ed's side. Or was it Andy's? We saw it on one of theirs.
I think they may have both done it. It was a compass, whichever one or both of them wound up doing that check. Nice modified Armos quick kill, making use of those silver arrows there on Andy's side. And we're finally going to see the green pendant turn in. Let's see, just some bombs. Not a check that results in value. And as we might have expected, Andy is going to work his way into Swamp Palace here. Still missing a couple of big keys. And one TR small key. Now, this is behind TR small key 3, so as chat has been pointing out, we're not going to find TRSK 3 in this dungeon, but we could technically find the 4th one. I don't recall where that Desert Palace big key is, but Ed bailing on the desert play entirely, I'm going to operate under the assumption that our tracker is correct and that he doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember myself with that one.
There is that pod big key, though, in the southern loop chest of Swamp Palace. Thieves Town big and a Turtle Rock small to go here. And with 2 items remaining, Andy is opting for the early left side swamp dip. Ed, obviously missing a couple of more things in this circumstance, is definitely heading for left side first. But Andy's going to show us a compass to Eastern Palace, and in the Vanilla Big Key location of left side swamp, we have 20 whole rupees.
Ooh, baby. I want to still believe we're going to see the boots today, my NDM. I really do.
I'm convinced the boots don't exist in this mode if you don't get them within the first 15 minutes. They're just not there. I forget if it was a fresh roll from some race room or one of the asyncs, but there was definitely a seed of this that I played where the boots were in Mini Helma left.
Ouch. There's our cape, though. Hey, the boots!
Oh, look, boots. They do exist.
At 1 hour and 22 and 30 seconds, Andy can now go fast.
Has spent a lot of time kind of having to walk around using that hook shot and that more recently the flute for a little mobility. Now, finally, if you want to go somewhere, you can at least run there.
I gotta say, like, Andy's made good time on this seed even without boots. Like, and Ed hasn't done poorly. Like, both runners really getting a lot of checks. And all we got really out of Swamp Palace is those boots and the pod big key. Not bad finds, but not our go mode. We're still missing the Thieves big and a TR small. See if we get... I think we didn't get Bombos tablets, so looks like that's going to come up for Andy now. And then realistically, maybe we check out Pyramid Fairy because, hey, we got both 5/6s.
Not a bad little stopping off point on the way over to Palace of Darkness.
Is this our logic? No.
It is not.
My idea, what do we have left for logic?
Video game, please. We're asking nicely. We're just trying to put this nonsense into logic.
I think, does this mean that the third TR small is vanilla or is in TR on Lava Island? I'm trying to think what we still have left. But doesn't really matter that there's our Thieves big key.
Okay, Thieves Big is pretty good. Andy is now in a position where he's going to be able to pull the GT Big Key off of Ped, so... Well, Ganon's Tower is now essentially going to remain unchecked this seed. Just going to run through it really quick.
Yeah, and for Andy at this point, you know, it's beat Pod, it's beat Thieves, go pull Ped. Really straightforward for him.
Ed having similar thoughts with this Bombos tablet check, but again, it hasn't become a TR small key since the time that Andy checked it.
Yeah, where was this Desert Big? Why are we not...
Was it on the shovel? Is that why we're kind of blanking on it?
Is it... We did see him have it, and we just don't remember him checking this. No.
Okay, it's not that. Oh, right, it was on the bat. Alright, well, Ed's never getting that either.
I am aware of the horse's aversion to bats.
Certain tendencies of runners and not making certain checks, yep.
Yep. Bonkrok's just a map to Mire.
Interesting that Ed's going to opt for the Thieves area first before Pod. I guess you would have to fly over here, but then you can just mirror once you're here and you finish this dungeon and go pull Ped more easily.
Yeah. I think from Ed's perspective, you know, this could be the fact that Andy is going back in for Pod Big Chest. And, you know, if he's lucky, he could skip that check. That's the only thing I can look at here from Ed's perspective, is for him to say, hey, I can potentially skip Pod Big. And Thieves checks are at least in line all the way. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's what I think he could be going after.
It's at least a case you can make for it.
Yes. Pod, there is our TR3. That's go mode for Andy. He's just got to beat Thieves Town, Turtle Rock, and of course, Climb GT. He'll have to pull that GT big key off of Ped, but as I said, he's in go mode. Logically, it's probably TR4. But at this point, it's go mode for Andy. That's all that matters in this case. Like, at this point, he just is finishing dungeons.
And knowing that, let's see if we get one of the more entertaining and rarely seen small key skips in the game.
Right. We do not need this hallway key on Andy's side. Does he remember it? Yes, he does. Realistically, recap the logic. We had most TR logic early. What we think happened here is that the third TR small to get your flute, which led to Mire, which led to Swamp, which led to Pod Big Chest. Yes, it is that convoluted. We think that third TR small had to have been in the lava chest to put the flute in logic and start this chain of events. No, we did see Graveyard Ledge. I remember at least one of our runners going through the hedge maze with a glove and not mitts. Or going through the bush maze in the graveyard or the cemetery. I want to say it was Andy, but yeah, we saw Graveyard Ledge. But that is another dungeon down for Mr. Ed. He's still got pod to do that he can complete. And it looks like he is going to hit up the Magic Bat. So we'll have that Desert Big shortly.
And I'm certain he's going to complain the whole while because the game has forced his hooves. He doesn't have hands, so the game can't force his hands, but...
And we have switched over to Andy. Mr. Ed was using the Ace Combat Zero MSU. Andy going with the Sea of Stars MSU. Can say that was a recently approved one.
I think there are at least a couple of different flavors of this MSU in point of fact.
Yes. And there you go. There is your ped pull for the GT Big Key. Very nice hook push or hook use on that dead rock.
And I think Andy has seen enough of Dead Rocks for the moment. Going to go up through the... going to go up through Super Bunny Cave here.
Yeah, we've been on Death Mountain a few times today. I think, understandably, we are done with Dead Rocks. I believe the two Sea of Stars MSUs are, what, Iceman and Moogle Charm?
Iceman and Moogle Charm sounds right.
So big shout outs to the creators of so many MSUs in this community. Not that vanilla music is bad, just that we enjoy having other stuff.
Variety, as the saying goes, is the spice of life, and there are a lot of people working on kind of side aspects of this game. Both of the runners obviously not using the Link sprite here. Both runners running with not the vanilla music. And then, of course, there are the randomizer devs, so that we have all of the items shuffled around into different locations, and there are a lot of moving parts of this community.
And Ed is going to further put off Pod Eastern. I think this is going to be Pyramid Fairy into Pod Eastern, or Pod at least.
I'm just trying to think of what else there is that he could possibly do if we know that the pod play is not going to do it at this point. We know that the big bomb is not going to do it. What other thing could Ed do there?
Yeah, and even if, yeah, I have to believe he checks out Eastern to get that ice rod. Unfortunately, it's just going to be too little, too late. Honestly, though, like, with or without that skip, I feel like Andy's route has been just that much stronger today, really.
It's
the skull big.
Ah, the skull big. Okay, so he would potentially have one additional out. But yes, the key sanity in particular, that things like this with the vanilla entrances or something like cross keys, you wind up in a game where not only is it you need to find the items and the keys, but the order in which you find them, the sequence in which you find them, tends to matter a lot. And Andy's sequence was better than Ed's.
Yep. So, that kind of leads to those efficiency moments that has kept Andy a little bit ahead. Some of the stuff that could have helped Ed, like the Eastern Big Key early, just really didn't pay out. So that's one of those things that just, what do you do?
Well, it's a team competition, so in cases like this, you start hoping that your teammate can take game 2. I'm not sure if they've already played the first game of this set.
No, they haven't yet.
I didn't think so.
No, this is the first game between Pugs and Bratwurst Buddies.
I hope everyone enjoyed the 5 seconds of GT Basement that they saw this seed.
Yep. And I do see a word in chat that Matt versus Skelly will be later this week on Thursday evening.
Andy making fairly quick work of this gauntlet. The first two rooms just flew by. The little run-in with the spike in room 3, but he's already out of G4.
I have to say, I love G5 ice physics. And very good on the one cycle land Molus there.
That clean dash line down the left-hand side, beating the fire bar in Torches 1, you love to see it.
Yeah. Don't need to get the mini Helma key here. So Ed's gonna have to... Ed's got his mirror out. He would have to go get Ice Rod and the GT Big Key still, and beat TR and climb. I think, you know, Andy having no boots and then finally having boots goes for the hover. Unfortunately, does miss that. Gonna just go for the kill now.
Yeah, you go ahead. You try to put on the show for everybody, but in the end, it's a race. You have no idea where your opponent's at. There's only so much time you can afford.
Yep. Ed did not go back into Eastern, though, so it looks like at this rate, Ed will not find his Ice Rod before Andy should be able to finish off Ganon.
Not necessarily the kindest, gentlest Aga patterns in the world. The first one was pretty decent, and this one looks okay, but the middle two were
Yeah,
not
they were
so
a bit
nice.
trashed. But Ed pulling his GT Big Key right as Andy's about to drop into Ganon. Ed with the save and quit, where are you going? It's to the mountain. Is Ed just going to go into TR and check the... what's... Hera basement?
Hera basement?
Meanwhile, blink and you miss it. Andy threw the first two phases again, and here, nice 1-in-1 setup. Nice double. Unfortunately, just missing that triple to finish it off, but does take down Ganon, and that is going to do it. Get your GGs in chat for Andy. Just going to have to cross this bridge. Meanwhile, Ed about to get the hair basement. But here we go. Andy finishing in first place with a 143.49. GG's to Andy. And I'm not sure how exactly soon afterwards, but pretty much right after, Ed does decide to forfeit. Understandable at this point, you're not in go mode, but GG's to Mr. Ed as well for a great race. As we are now joined by Andy. GG.
Hello, GG.
I'm guessing you guys talked a little bit, so you found out kind of what one of the big differences was in that ice rod, but very efficient route throughout, it felt like.
Yeah, it felt pretty nice, minus like having to walk around for 90 minutes. But
yeah. We are also joined by Mr. Ed. GG.
Yo, GG's, Andy.
GG's.
Yeah, imagine, I just knew ahead of time, like, Eastern Big Key Chest was just never going to get checked, so, cool.
Yeah, my DM did mention that during during our comms, saying you had pretty much indicated that was a very likely skip on your end. And when we saw that, it was just kind of a, oh no.
Well, look at the bright side. Andy destroyed me so bad that while, because Andy would have just, go mode to GT and everything, I got a treat for SpeedGaming, or everybody in chat. You're gonna see what every chest is in GT as we have the post-race interviews. And also, if you want to have a prediction in chat, how many tries did it take me to hover Moldorn 2?
Awesome. I will say, I think we are down. We were trying to figure it out. We think the fourth G or TR small is Lava Island at this rate.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
I can find out real quick.
Obviously the assumption that Andy would have done the other skips that I made, so Dark Cross, and cutscene check and Meyer.
Wait, neither of you did. Oh, I forgot. Nobody did Dark Cross. You're right.
Nope. I was gonna. So my plan was to do King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks, check Lumberjack, and then I was gonna do Pyramid Fairy into Dark Cross and Aga Tower because I hadn't done any of that stuff yet.
Okay.
And then I pulled Thieves Big from King's Tomb, and I was like, oh, well, I'm Turtle Rock Small Key from Go Mode, so time to go beat some pendant dungeons, I guess. And then I picked Pod first because I wanted to go from Thieves Town to Pedestal, and got a Turtle Rock Small from Pod Big Chest, so it was quite nice.
Yeah, and in that case for me, at least I was very conscious enough that I still needed a Turtle Rock Small, but it's like, well, it's this ice rod, and at this point, I'm assuming he probably didn't do big bombs, so of course what was behind there was the skill with Bicky, so of course that just sent me in a whole nother direction. But hey, the nice thing is I got to check that and then pull pad for the GT Piggy, but listen, I look at it this way. I know I'm not like a terrible runner, but I look at somebody like Andy who is like insanely good at the game, and I feel that there's just a couple skips that I just kind of felt, as I was doing this, that I was just gonna have to make, and literally just stick to it. And I'm not unhappy about it. Obviously it is what it is. It's rando. Yeah, that's twice in a row in as many seeds that Eastern Palace Big Key literally had exactly what I needed, or Eastern Palace Big Key Chest had exactly what I needed. But I'm happy with how I played. I'm not happy with like the routing and everything. It just kind of was like, all over the place. And then when I went into pod and got that lamp, all I could think about is, oh god, all right, well, we got Agina, Pyramid Ledge, Catfish, Zora, to try to figure out what in the world, like where the fire rod was or the flute, because I'd already gone to the mountain. And basically my idea is to try as best as I can to be able to single dip dungeons. So, like Andy, I don't know how early you did Ice Pals, but like I did it without Samara. I did it, I did that right off the rip when I got the mitts. And then I found Samara afterwards. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I felt about that.
I put off the mountain until I had logical access to it. So I had all the goodies for it. I had a big key, Samaria, Fire Rod, and Bombos, so magic wasn't a problem.
Which, yeah, that makes sense there. So I just kind of, I had in mind that there's probably a good chance that, I mean, obviously got those pod keys like really early, and it's just like, well, there is probably something into there, but getting the mirror from Skullwood. So basically, I held off on CAC as long as possible, as long as feasibly possible, and the glove was my Dark World Axis and Mushroom Spot. So then I just went into Skullwood, Steve's Town, kind of did that loop around. So when I got the mirror, it was just kind of like a green light for me to just say, okay, well, you know what? I know that pod is probably the logical thing, but if I can snag, like, say, a pod big key or something along the lines to make, possibly doing that a single trip, that would have felt good. Getting the mitts was like, all right, well, you know what? Before I do that, I'll just go to Ice Palace. I'll just take my chances, and seeing the hook shot there was, nice and everything, but it still eventually led me back to pod, which then made me turn around and say, okay, there's a fire rod or a flute, and now I have to try to go find it. So, just as far as like at that point, like decisions, like the routing just kind of went all over the map at that point, and yeah, there we are.
Yeah, I think the big thing we were kind of saying was if the Eastern Big Key led you to something in that big chest or Armos early, since you were able to do that first trip to Eastern Pod, like could have swung things a bit because of the routing decisions. But overall, yeah, I mean, Andy, your route today definitely really strong in the efficiency and the little things that Ed did ahead of time, like doing Saha first, like didn't really lead to anything that massively important to give him the early advantages.
Yeah, Eastern and Sahashala were on my radar for so long, and like every decision I made just gave me like one little piece of the puzzle that was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that yet, and that happened like 4 times in a row. I was like, man, if like Boots or Eastern or on Sahashala, I'm gonna feel really bad because I've been able to do this for like probably 45 minutes.
By the way, to anybody who's just listening to this broadcast and not actually reading on chat, Andy does give us confirmation that Dark Cross was our final TR small. Chat, comms, all of us forgot that check existed.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Well, the runners didn't go there, so nobody went there, and therefore nobody thought about it. Out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, if Hera Basement had a TR small, that's exactly where I would have gone. I would have gone right to Lava Chest and saying, well, this is the sins that I'm going to punish myself with. But unfortunately, it was just a piece of heart. And at that time, I saw Indy finish, and I just kind of laughed. And I'm thinking, all right, well, I'll ask him where the ice rod is, and I'm just like, all right, well, let's see which one of these garbage checks that I didn't decide not to do had it. But yeah, no, that was fun scene. I mean, I've always been a big fan of anything that's all dungeons, key sanity, that type of stuff. I mean, if we threw like a little Enemizer in here, I'd be thrilled to death. And then in Andy's case, if we threw a little multi into this, I'm sure we'd be thrilled to death. So.
Yeah, as we did discuss, this of course is the first game between your two teams. I believe we heard that it's going to be Matt and Skelly for game 2 Thursday evening. Any thoughts there?
Go Skelly. Here's my other thought. Just make sure that you check the Vanilla Bicky chest in Eastern Palace. Do not let that go away. But yeah, no, I mean, Skelly and Matt, two incredibly good runners, so that should be definitely a good watch. So when is it? Thursday?
Thursday at 8:30 by what we were told.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember from the chat there, or from the team chat there. So by the way,
I'll be off of an airplane by the time that starts, so that's good.
There you go. All right, so now listen, I don't mean to take over here, but I mean, I'm gonna try my best to see if I can actually impress Andy here. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to know where Sword was, just in case, I don't know if Andy checked that, but there it is. Pre-Moldorm chest had it. But
Nope,
this
I
is
did literally nothing in GT.
Andy. This is my impression. This is my way of trying to impress you. There we go.
Oh, nice. You did better than I did. I instantly fell. And I was like, my hands are too cold, and my shoulder still hurts a little bit, so let's just not do it a second time.
I like that. But no, guys, thank you so much for putting this on to Speed Gaming, to the entire league, all the volunteers, the chat, people affiliated with this. Thank you, Andy, for giving me the pleasure to have a race with you. Absolute blast. I apologize that I couldn't have you finish your multi-world excursion that you had going on there.
That was awesome.
And for I'm sure people know by now, Team Pugs over here, between Matt, Dante, and Andy, three of the coolest people that you meet in the rando community, and I've had a chance to interact, talk, chat, get to know, watch, steal some strats, all that type of stuff. So it's an honor and a privilege to be able to be a part of it, to be able to race somebody that I have a lot of respect for, and just even in the entire team have a lot of respect for. And look forward to Skelly versus Matt, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, channel to be determined. And again, I thank you guys very much.
Man, Jesse, I feel like he practically did our job for us, didn't he?
For the most part, I will point out that there is plenty of racing action for the rest of this evening. Right now, over on Speed Gaming 4, we've got Go versus Farm Friends McMonkey taking on Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna. So yeah, that started about the restream started about 30 minutes ago. So not quite a bit to go in that race. 8:10 p.m. Eastern on SG6. We've got Don't Forget to Track Us versus Saha Kids. It's going to be Flip Heel versus Talon. And then 8:40 p.m. This is the second game between Farm Friends and Go. They're doing this as a consecutive double header, so it might not start directly at 8:40, but sometime after that, we're going to get Wind Fox versus Vortex of Doom. And then finally, the last race in the Invitational League for this evening, we've got To Infinity and Pagog versus Terranigma Is a Great Game. It's going to be Will WC versus Superin and Taylor. Once again, SG2 at 9:10 p.m. this evening. My MDM, do we get any open league?
That's the second half of a split doubleheader. I think they played the other game of their set earlier today.
Yeah, that was about a 2:10 p.m. I think that might have also been on SG2 with Humbug and Thalane. So yeah, split day-night doubleheader there. There are some races going on in the Open League. I do not see any restreams planned there, though.
I don't think there are, but if you head over to the Link to the Past Randomizer League Discord, there are events with attached multis for all of those. Starting here in about half an hour would be Armalix versus Tepidino, a matchup from a couple of teams that could very likely be vying for one of those promotions to Invitational in the playoffs at the end of this season. Validation Chest Boots versus Midna's Malevolence, Tiverius and Masakuni is going to be starting about half an hour after that. Risky and Terrible Gambits versus Team Circled 9, Jay Masha and Kuchiri at 9:10 Eastern Time, and Hovering Sick Kids, that'll be Raids versus Falcon of Team It's Mitts at a 9:40 Eastern start. Again, you can pull the multis for all those off of the Link to the Past Randomizer League Discord if you wanted to tune into some Open League action. So yeah, lots of randos still coming up this evening.
Yeah, but with that, we are going to call it a night here. Once again, please give a follow to our runners, Mr. Ed and Andy. Big shout outs to Maya and DM for co-comment today, as well as Validity for doing the tracking. Well appreciated, all the volunteers we've got. So thank you all again, and we'll see y'all later.